Welcome back into Labut's Python Pit. I want to show you how you can take multiple variables and bring them together in your programming. So I've made a variable, name1. I've declared that its value is Chris. I've made another called name2. I've declared its value as Bob. I want Python to print those two names together, like name1 and name2. There's a little problem though. It's going to get a little confused when I say two variables names and start smashing them together in parentheses. So I'm going to put a plus in between. This tells Python that after it goes and gets name1 from its memory from above, it will then add it to name2 from its memory from earlier in the program. So let's run that and see what gets printed here. It will print the name Chris and Bob. It worked. I have a little problem though. I've got no space between the two, so there's a nice little trick I can put into Python. I can add extra stuff within this print command, just like I had previously when I wasn't sticking variables in there. And I just learned a basic print command. My first thing I learned with Python was to just put quotes and start typing something I want the computer to print. Something like our names are. And if I type that string and then I put a plus, it'll tell Python to print these letters inside the quotes and then add to it whatever the value of name1 is, and then add to that whatever the value of name2 is. Let's give it a try. Our names are Chris Bob. I'm part of the way there for where I'd like to be with this, but now I have no space between our names are and that first name Chris, so I'm going to go in here and just simply add a space. When I run it, it will indeed have put a space there. That's nice. No one would say our names are Chris Bob though, so I'm gonna, just like I made a string here, I'm gonna squeeze another one in over here. Our names are Chris and Bob. Now you might be guessing already what problem might arise from the thing I've just done here. Let's give it a try. You might have guessed that this was going to happen. It's going to squish these three things together and make it look like Chris and Bob, unless I put some spaces in here. Now let me try running it. Yay, it worked. There is one little problem though. I kind of want good grammar within my sentences, so I'm going to add one last thing here, a period. Oops, there we go, and it should say our names are Chris and Bob. Yay, it worked out. There is another trick you can use in Python to bring different variables and strings together when printing, or concatenating, that's called when you bring different strings together. Instead of a plus, I can put a comma. And let's just see what that does. It almost works perfectly, but it's going to create a tiny little problem. Let's see what it did. It says, our names are Chris and Bob. Oh boy, it looks like it's got extra spaces in there. Check that out. Putting a comma must actually add a space. So I don't have to do it in my string here, and I don't have to put a couple spaces in my second little string I've put in between these two names. Let me try running it now and see what happens. I have our names are, comma, name1, and, comma, name2, comma, period. It seems like that should be, oh man. Oh, you can see what happens. Whenever you put a comma, it's pretty awesome. You don't have to do the plus, and it will automatically put a space in for you. But there are instances where you don't want it to put a space in for you. Back here I did, our names are. It gave me a space when I put a comma there. It gave me a space here, and it gave me a space here over in my actual program in spots where I wanted it, but I don't really want a space after the period. So I guess I'm not going to be able to use that little trick for bringing different strings of printed information together. I probably in this case will have to just use the plus technique to get it to run properly and not put that extra little space at the end. There it is. It worked. Thanks for watching this episode of Labut's Python Pit.